Imagine wasting away in a Pakistani prison for nothing more than defending your Christian faith during a heated argument with Muslim co-workers. Well, that happened to Asia Bibi. The Christian mother was in prison 9 years ago and convicted of committing blasphemy against Mohammed. The punishment is death, but Bibi has one more chance for justice. For several years, the Pakistani High Court has repeatedly delayed hearing her appeal. And joining us with more from London is Wilson Chowdhry. He's president of the British Pakistani Christians Association. Wilson, good to see you again. Now, I know there were some reports several weeks ago that Asia's appeal will be heard soon, but what is soon? Has any date been set? Give us an update.
Well, no dates have been set yet, and how soon is now. When you're dealing with the Pakistani legal court system, justice system, you're talking about periods between 6 to 1 year would be described as short. So it's very hard to say, but my indications would suggest that the court hearing will be within the next 6 months.
Well, it's now been 9 years, Wilson. I don't think any Pakistani has served a longer time in prison on blasphemy charges. So why is Asia still in prison?
Well, Asia Bibi has been, an outcast in her entire society now. I mean, the entirety of Pakistan comes out to protest every time there's a court hearing for her. She is anathema. She's hated by people up and down the country simply for saying the words, "My Christ died for me. What did Muhammad do for you?" Which, in any sensible person's imagination, doesn't mean more than a question. She is serving the longest sentence ever known for blasphemy. Most blasphemy victims are released at high court stage. The high court judges were too fearful to release Asia Bibi, and during their hearing they said that her conviction would remain because of technical issues. They never ever clarified what those technical issues are. I mean, we've got this chance at Supreme Court hearing, and the new Chief Justice is definitely a man who is more egalitarian in his approach to law. He's already set up a special office now in the Supreme Court of Lahore, in which Christian applications for appeals, etc., are now going to be fast-tracked and reviewed in a different manner than others because of the noticeable prejudices that occur in the judicial system.
I've met Asia's family several times. Asia's daughter, Isham, has always voiced optimism, Wilson, that her mom will be released. So how is Asia and her family holding out?
Well, as well as they can. Their mother's been incarcerated for 9 years. She's missed birthdays. She's missed weddings. So Asia herself will have felt extremely isolated and secluded. I mean, this woman has been almost in hibernation for 9 years, hardly ever seeing any faces, with the occasional visit from her family members. And I can't imagine how much of an impact that would have on the children. I mean, being away for that long from your mother during some of the most sensitive years of your life, it has to be difficult. And Isham's a brave girl, as are the others. But I can imagine, despite what they say, they have really missed their mother over this period of time. And they will be overjoyous once she is released, just as many other Christians who have been calling for her freedom will be. I mean, it will be a day of great elation.
Well, I know earlier this year, on that note, there was some rare good news about a Christian who was jailed 2 years ago on blasphemy charges. Then he was freed. Tell us briefly about 32-year-old Usman Liaquat.
Yeah, Usman Liaquat was a very brave man. His sister-in-law was suffering from severe harassment in her college by a group of boys. Initially, he went to the parents, and the parents actually managed to silence the boys for some time. But eventually, the boys regained their bravado and started harassing his sister-in-law and other Christian girls, it should be said. So Usman, and one day while Usman Liaquat was going to work, they accosted him, told him to refrain from getting involved in their harassment and to let them continue doing what they were doing. To which Usman's reply was, "I'll go to the police and make sure an FIR is registered, a charge is registered against you if you continue this action." Because when they heard this, the boys beat him. he was advised to go to the police station to report the crime, to protect others from a similar beating. Whilst there, he was then accused of blasphemy and had to serve 1 year, 9 months as a blasphemy convict. What transpired is, over a period of time, through the negotiating skills of his solicitors, who obviously advocated for him in court, he was able to set himself free on the basis that there was absolutely no evidence against him. But the police in Pakistan don't need to have evidence. They simply need to have the words of a Muslim against a Christian to place them in prison and incarcerate them take them away from their freedom.
Yeah, that happens a lot there. So what can we do for Asia Bibi and our Pakistani brothers and sisters in Christ who are up against these charges and face this situation every day? What can we do?
Well, firstly, we need to speak to our governments. The US government is getting more involved in the situation in Pakistan. I remember when Donald Trump, I believe he still has suspended foreign aid funding to Pakistan until they improve their poor human rights record. Britain is intervening more, so are various other Western nations. Already, obviously, we're now hearing about a Supreme Appeal Court hearing for Asia Bibi. If you'd asked me 2 years ago, I would have said this wouldn't happen. But things have changed, and I believe it's down to international pressure. So we know this can work. And again, what we've got to do is trust in God. Each and every one of us must pray and pray for change, not only in the government and the way they think in Pakistan, but in the way that mass society in Pakistan operates. No longer should they see Christians as pariahs or as individuals outside the normal human sphere, if that makes sense. That's often how Christians and other minorities are viewed.
Okay, a lot of praying then is needed there for Christians in Pakistan. Wilson Chowdhry, as always, we appreciate you. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Gary.